So last episode, we talked about paradox number 1. Now we're on to stress paradox number 2. Now pay a close attention to this. This episode's info can even save your life. Now on to paradox number 2. I know what you're thinking. Okay, great, Treva, stress brings meaning. But what about all that news that stress will make us tired, sick, or even kill us? Well, if you think this, you're right. I saw an article just this week that said workplace stress was so bad that it causes 120,000 deaths every year. That means it kills more people than diabetes or kidney disease. But before you get all bummed out, remember there's a stress paradox number 2. And stress paradox number 2 says, stress can be helpful or harmful. You choose which one. You see, what makes people sick or even kills them isn't the stress. Remember, stress equals meaning. What's dangerous is the combination of stress plus believing that stress is harmful. Don't believe me? Well, 30,000 adults were asked, how much stress did you have last year? And do you believe stress is harmful to your health? Then the researchers waited, and they waited, and they waited. Then 8 years later, they checked to see who had died. And people who had high stress, they increased their risk of dying by 43%. No surprise there. But that was only for people who thought stress was harmful. You see, some people didn't get the memo. They thought stress was helpful. And those starry-eyed dreamers, they had the lowest risk of death of all, even compared to those who had super low stress. I told my teenage daughter about this study and she said, maybe those people just didn't have a lot of stress. That's what everyone figured, but it just wasn't true. The people who thought stress was good, they did actually have stressful lives. It turns out believing stress is helpful works whether you have a lot or a little of it. Now, not only did those crazy people who believe stress is helpful die less, they also had less depression, they were more satisfied with their lives, they had more energy, they had fewer health problems, they were happier and more productive. They saw circumstances as challenging, not overwhelming. They were more confident in their coping skills, and they were better able to find meaning in hard stuff. Phew, that's a lot of helpfulness. So basically, you can believe 2 different things about stress. Stress is harmful, or stress is helpful. And it turns out both of them are true. Alicia Crum, a well-known researcher on mindset, explains what's happening here. She says when 2 outcomes are possible, a person's expectations influence which outcome is more likely. So the effect you expect is the effect you get. This is a case where what you believe becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Those who believe stress is helpful cope with it, and then good things happen. Those who believe stress is bad, they avoid it. They might escape or distract themselves from stress instead of just dealing with it. Then bad things happen. Now here comes that life-saving info I promised. It's time for you to sit up and really pay attention. Remember that 8-year study where the researchers waited around to see who died? Well, they estimated that over those 8 years, 182,000 people may have died prematurely just because they believed stress was harmful. A while ago, a friend was going through a really tough time adjusting to her new job. And she said to me, Treva, my job is killing me. Well, I scolded her. Don't ever say that again. You're not a police officer, a firefighter, or a soldier. Your job is not worth dying for. Watch what you say. Then, of course, I calmed down and I told her that she could believe her stress was helpful instead and not end up dead in the process. So what secret knowledge of stress did I share with my friend? How do you actually believe that stress is good for you and make it your superpower? Tune into the next episode to find out how.